Welcome to this Willamette Promise webinar. Today we're focusing on the Western Oregon student process and really focusing on the 4 different processes that students need to successfully navigate their dual credit courses offered through Willmaette Promise and then through Western Oregon. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Elizabeth Layton, and I am the Dual Credit Engagement Specialist for the Willamette Promise. I was a teacher for 8 years with experience at both the high school and college level. This, along with my experience teaching dual credit, really puts me in a unique position to help students and those who support students navigate the dual credit landscape. So in this webinar, we're going to cover 4 processes: student registration, both Willamette Promise and Western Oregon, the process to accept or decline grades, student payment, and ordering student transcripts. There'll also be a time at the end to answer any questions that you have, and I'll pause at the end of each section in case you have questions. So when students are ready to register for the Willamette Promise program, for a course through Western Oregon, they need to complete a 2-step application. So either they can visit orskills.wesd/org.org/student registration. That takes them directly to the application. Or they can also navigate to our website, wesd.org/student. They can click on the student registration and then click on the Western Oregon registration button. So there's 2 ways that students can get to the registration application, either directly through the OrSkills website or through our website. So once they get to the application itself is broken up into 5 parts. It's all on 1 page, but I wanted to break it down for you guys to see each of the different sections. So the first section asks for the student's 8-digit state testing ID number. Sometimes this is available in a teacher's gradebook, the LMS system. If not, the front office should have this information. This is the state testing number that students are given, so it's different than their school ID number. Some students may know it, but if not, again, you can ask your front office. The next section asks for students' personal information, which includes the student's first and last name, their date of birth, and gender identity. If a student uses a name that is different from their legal name, such as a dead name, a member of our staff will just reach out to the teacher to confirm the student's information. So if they put a different name in there, we'll just confirm with the teacher to make sure that this is in fact the correct student. So that is all the required information for personal information. The next section is contact, which requires an email and mailing address. We do recommend that students use a personal email account rather than a school email, so it doesn't get kind of stuck in the filter of schools. So personal email account and mailing address. The next section is the parent and guardian information. This section is completely optional, and because of FERPA laws, we're not allowed to give parents and guardians information about their students in the same way that they're used to in both the primary and secondary levels. But we do send out program information to parents and guardians. So if you have a parent who is really involved or wants to get some information, you can always have the student put that information in there, but it is not required. Finally, students are asked for their school, which they choose from the drop-down menu, and their expected graduation date. Once the registration form is complete, they hit submit. So once the student has submitted the registration form, they've completed part 1 of the registration process, the Willamette Promise portion. Students are not done at this point. They still need to complete the second part of registration by clicking on the Continue to Western Oregon University button if they're not automatically directed to the next page. So you want to make sure that students aren't just clicking off or closing the window. We do have another option for that, which I will go over. But again, this is part one, then they need to finish part two. So the second part of registration is through Western Oregon University. They ask students for their citizenship and a social security number. There are two things to note for this part of registration. First, that students do not need to be a U.S. citizen in order to participate in our program. And second, if a student doesn't have a social security number, they don't know it at the time that they're registering, or they're just uncomfortable with providing that information, they can click the submit button twice, and that will bypass the social security number question, and they will be able to complete their registration. It will already fill in their SSID number, which we can see. And then they can either choose to answer the social security number, or again, hit submit twice, and they won't have to. All right, so if by chance a student refreshes or navigates away from the page or closes it before getting to the Western Oregon University page, they can visit this address here. It's also on our website in the student registration guide. And so if they need to use this, then they will have to provide their first and last name, their SSID number, and their birth date, since it won't automatically populate those fields for them. And then they'll go through the same process of answering their citizenship and adding in their social security number if they have one. So this page is only if they didn't do the second part of registration during the first part, if they somehow went away from it. So are there questions about student registration that anyone has? So far I've covered two steps that students need to complete to enroll in their dual credit courses, right? So registration part one through Willamaette Promise, registration part two through Western Oregon. The next step is student payment. So to participate in our program, students pay a $30 fee once per school year, regardless of how many classes they take. So they could be taking several different classes, it's still just $30. While all payments are due by June 16th, students have two options when it comes to payment. So they can go to our payment portal and pay their $30 fee through our Square site, or they can fill out the fee waiver form if they are on free and reduced lunch. So when students are ready to pay their fee, they need to visit our website at wesd.org/students. They will click on student payment, which is the second button here. And then this is where they find their two options to either pay their fee or fill out the fee waiver. So if students choose to pay their fee, they'll be taken to our Square site and begin by selecting their mascot from the available options. If a student is trying to pay their fee and they can't find their mascot listed on the Square payment site, their school has opted to pay their Willamette Promise fees, so they don't need to pay. Those schools who pay for their students are also listed on the bottom of the student payment page, so right underneath the pay here and fee waiver form, and they're all listed here on the screen. So again, if they can't find their mascot, then they don't need to pay and they're good. Don't need to worry about it. All right, so if students have found their mascot, they click on their mascot, then students will enter in their information by typing in their first and last name into the box and clicking buy now. This will take students to the final page where they enter in the payee information. They can review and then submit their order. Students will receive a refund if they end up not earning college credits at the end, or if they make a payment more than once. So if they pay for each class that they have, 5 different times, we'll give them a refund for 4. So we only need the $30 once. The second payment option is the fee waiver for students who are on free and reduced lunch. Students will open the application, enter their information, including their 8-digit SSID number, their state testing ID. So again, you may need to help them get that information or direct them to the front office. We need to know what courses they're taking with Willamette Promise and the teachers that are offering those courses. So it may not be all the courses that they're taking. They may just know of one that they're taking. That's fine. They don't have to reapply. They just want to have one time that they need to create the application. And yes, I will be sending out a link to this recording afterwards. At the bottom of the application, students will confirm their eligibility, sign by typing their full legal name and then clicking on submit. So are there questions about student payments, either the paying now or the fee waiver? All right, so students taking courses through the assessment-based model of dual credit offered with Willamette Promise through Western Oregon are in a unique position where they get to take college courses completely risk-free. A student can sign up, they can pay their fees, take the entire class, see the grade before they have to commit that grade to their transcript. So at the end of the course, students will have the option to either accept or decline the grade they've earned in the class. Some students only want an A on their transcript, while other students are fine with a lower grade. So it's up to really the student to choose what they feel comfortable with. The only stipulation that we have is that their grade must be a C or higher, as this is the threshold for satisfactory academic progress. We want to make sure that they aren't below that with starting college. So if a student chooses to decline a grade or receives a grade lower than a C, they will have no record of attempting the class on their college transcript. So it'll be like they didn't even try. And this is different than most models of dual credits, including our courses with Oregon Tech. So you want to make sure that students really understand that difference. They really have the power to either accept or decline. Any questions about grades for Western Oregon?
Can you explain the process of how a student would accept or decline? Where would they be getting this information and how do they do that?
Yes. So once they are given their grade, their teacher will give them a form that says either, yes, I accept the grade. It will show what class it is, what grade they have, and they have to sign and either check the box of yes, I accept, or check the box of no, I do not accept. And teachers will hold on to that. So they'll be getting that information through their teacher. So after a student has completed both portions of the registration process for our program, paid their fees, and accepted their grade, the last step is to order their transcripts. However, due to the nature of our program, grades for the current or previous year aren't ready until the first week of August. So students will have to wait until at least that first week of August to order or to request a transcript. Students should plan on requesting their official transcripts, which are signed and sealed by the institution when they're ready to apply for colleges and universities. So they don't need to get it as a sophomore. It will be there. It's fine. They will be able to request at the end and all their credits will be there. Once a student opens an official transcript, they're considered unofficial, and so they can only be used for personal use. So that's something that students may not quite understand, is that difference between unofficial and official transcripts. So once a student is ready to transfer their credits to the institution of their choice, they will need to request a transcript. To do this, they can navigate to our website, again, wesd.org/student. They'll want to click on the student transcripts button, which is the third button, and then the Western Oregon transcripts button. Once they are on the Western Oregon Willamette Promise transfer credit website, they're going to log into Parchment, which is the company that handles the request process through the transcript portal. Link at the top of the page, which is a little link here in blue, or at the bottom of the page, there's this red box with the order transcript link at the button that also takes them to the same place. So students, now that they've reached the correct site, or they know they've reached the correct site when they see this banner for Western Oregon University Willmaette Promise at the top. Once they see that, students will enter their email in the field provided and click on continue. If they already have an account, they will be prompted for their password. Otherwise, they'll be prompted to sign up. So when registering for Parchment, students will need to enter their personal information. And this includes their legal first and last name, their date of birth, the highest level of education, and their contact information. Next, they'll choose a password and create their account. They will get a verification email that they will need to use to verify their account. In the second step, once students have registered for Parchment, they're ready to actually order their transcripts. They will want to click on the order button underneath the Western Oregon University Willmaette Promise banner on their dashboard. From here, students will set the delivery destination. So the first option is to enter the school that they wish to send their transcripts to and click the search button. If the school doesn't appear, they can click enter your own information and fill in the destination information for that school. The second option is clicking on the I'm sending to myself for another individual option and enter the destination information there. So which includes the name, the email, and just retyping that email. Students can then review their order, they can provide consent and submit their order. They will then receive a confirmation email that they have submitted their order. However, there are several notifications that students may receive instead of a confirmation email, and they all mean different things. So first, if a student receives a delay notification, the university is searching for their record. They will want to give the university a few days before reaching out. It's something that they're just trying to match records. So they just need a little bit more time. This often happens when a student doesn't provide a social security number or their name doesn't match. Second, if a student receives a notification that their order is on hold, they will want to contact Western Oregon at registrar@mail.wu.edu. And third, students may receive a cancellation notification because of a lack of an academic record. So this usually means a student's credits have not yet been transcribed and that they need to wait until the first week of August for their grades to be processed. Students can also contact us, Willmaette Promise, to confirm that they've earned credits or that the process for transcribing those grades has been completed. So those are the things that they'll want to email us for at willamette.promise@wesd.org. Are there questions about student transcripts? Yes, for our WU students, they get 10 transcripts for free. So the first 10 that they request, they get for free. They don't have to pay for it. So that's something that's really awesome for the students and for parents to know that they should not be paying. So if they're paying somewhere, they're on the wrong site. We want to make sure that they are on the correct site. All right, so today we've gone through a lot of information for Willmaette Promise courses offered through Western Oregon. Again, we've covered how to complete registration, how to pay their fees, their options for accepting or declining a grade, and how to request transcripts. So if you have any questions or if you came in late and needed a little bit of a refresher, just let me know. Anyone have any outstanding questions? All right. Well, I hope this information has been helpful. If you have further information or further questions, you can visit our website at willamette.promise.org or feel free to contact me for more information. Again, willamette.promise@wesd.org. I will be sending out the video recording of this and these slides, so you'll have both of those to look at and to use when talking to students. All right, if there's no other questions, thank you so much for joining. Have a great day.